Hey guys, welcome back to more HOA stories. In this video, a homeowner association Karen slapped me when I kicked her off my private property. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the video. So I was never really into getting homes that were so close they were basically on top of each other. When I was looking at homes, all of those just felt extremely claustrophobic, and I realized pretty quickly that I wanted something a little more secluded. I also knew that I wanted a house that was not part of any type of HOA. Even if it was a voluntary one, I did not want to be near any of that annoyance. It took months of research, but I finally found a place that looked like it fit everything I wanted. I mean, it was not perfect and I would probably want to make some small changes down the line, but the property itself was perfect. I also made sure when I got the house to get everything in writing and put it in a folder. A deed, a property survey, and a note stating that I was not part of any HOA that was neighboring me. I'm a bit of an artist and also what some people might call an eccentric person, others may call it mentally insane, but that was part of why I wanted freedom with my property. The first thing on my list was to change the paint color of the house. It was chipping away, so a new coat of paint would really help matters. I went to the store and a nice purple is just what called out to me. I painted my entire house in that purple color. When I was at the store for the paint, they also had a section for just lawn equipment and stuff. I didn't plan on buying anything, but I wandered down the aisles and came across a garden gnome. It looked cool and I bought it. It looked kinda lonely and I found out online that I could find all different colors and styles of them. I got a bunch of them and put them all in my garden. On the other side of my backyard, I put a chicken coop. I could put up a small wire fence to enclose them, but they had plenty of room to roam around the yard and enjoy their life. The closest neighbor I had saw the things I was doing and clearly was not a big fan and had no creative imagination. She was a Karen right down to the haircut and had no issues stating her problems to me. I just assumed that she was a bad neighbor, but I found out pretty quickly, because she wouldn't shut up about it, that she was the president of the nearby HOA. Right away she was shouting demands at me and told me that I had to get rid of my chickens and gnomes as well as repaint my house. I might be the kind of guy to make a gnome garden, but I don't take getting pushed around well. I was gonna stand my ground. Me, I know you might have a bunch of rules about this stuff in your HOA, but my house is not within it, so I don't have to follow them. Karen, we are expanding the HOA. It will soon cover your home too. I have bylaws right here explaining that you need to paint your house an appropriate color and that you cannot have those creatures running around your backyard. They are filthy. Me, well, first of all, I'm not getting rid of any of my pets or chickens or changing my house color. Second, if you want to expand, I cannot stop you, but I'll already be living here. You cannot force me into an HOA or any of your rules. So unless you have actual business here on my property, you will need to leave. Karen, I'm not going anywhere. This is HOA property and I have the right to be here and to cite you. Me, well, and I have paperwork showing that this is not part of the HOA. So unless you want the police to get called, you need to leave now. And by the way, my house is gonna stay this way for as long as I want it to, and your Karen ass cannot do a damn thing about it. While it was true that she couldn't do anything as an HOA president, she could do something as a Karen. Finally, she slapped me across the face. I called the police, not wanting to mess around, telling them how she trespassed onto my property and assaulted me. Karen, meanwhile, also called 911 and was suddenly sobbing and claiming that I was sexually harassing her and not letting her leave my property. Going into details of things that I was gonna do to her that I will not be repeating here. The police arrived and started to get both of our stories. They clearly are leaning towards the side of Karen, thinking that it might be true I was trying to lure her into my house. I was scared and might have been arrested if it wasn't for something else that I had. See, when I got the chickens, I was a little bit worried because this area is known for having foxes. I wanted to be able to keep an eye on them, so I installed cameras. They were never meant to be for my protection, but I was able to pull up the video. It showed everything, including me telling Karen to leave and her slapping me. It was clear to the police now that she lied and she knew she had been caught in it. She was now back to claiming that it was not trespassing because she was in charge of the HOA and I was breaking all the rules. Meanwhile, I had my nice neat folder showing that the HOA had nothing to do with my property. Despite all the evidence against her, I found out that Karen is trying to press charges against me and filed a report. It's not like I had to get handcuffed and brought in or anything dramatic like that, but I did get a court summons where I needed to present all my evidence again so they can throw away the case for being total crap and not true. I think that she was under the impression that the idea of going to court is scary and I would be willing to give in to anything she wanted in order to avoid that. I want to point out that during that court event, Karen tried again to accuse me of sexual assault to try and make me look like a criminal. Meanwhile, she was the one that slapped me. That was not my only trip to court though, because Karen was also trying to get a lien put on my home. She was claiming now that I was in the HOA and refusing to follow any of the rules or pay fines. Again, my evidence was solid and this did nothing aside from wasting everybody's time and the HOA's legal budget. Also, once again, despite it not even being slightly relevant, she tried to paint me as some kind of sexual assault predator. Now, making a false police report on its own is a pretty serious offense that courts seem to be cracking down harshly on. The fact she brought this entire thing even further by putting it into a courtroom not once but twice was not going well in her favor. She was being brought up on criminal charges for lying to the police at the scene, lying on the phone, assaulting me, and was already being held in contempt of court for lying on the stand that I had assaulted her. Putting all of those things together meant that she was not going to see the outside of a prison for a very long time. As for the HOA, I was getting updates from another board member during all of this, since going to court and being thrown into jail takes time, and Karen was out on bail, she was still technically around. Due to her actions, the HOA had filed an official kind of meeting that could get Karen removed from power. I wrote them a letter explaining how I was victimized by her, and between that and a vote, Karen was totally out of the HOA. I know for me the big satisfaction should be her going to prison, and it is satisfying, but when I think of the look on her face as she got voted out of the HOA in front of everybody, now that is just a different kind of satisfaction. And yeah guys, I hope you still enjoy the HOA stories, and now we will read an Am I the Jerk story that is titled Am I the Jerk for not splitting my mom's inheritance with my siblings? I, 28 female, have 6 siblings. Our mom recently passed in November from stage 4 cancer. I had a really good relationship with my mom, we would spend time together, and my 4 children, 5-year-old twins, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, all loved her. I'm the youngest of all my siblings. My older siblings did not prioritize much time with my mom until the last few months when she couldn't do much for herself anymore. I currently live with my boyfriend, 38 male, and our 4 children in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's a nice apartment, but of course it's not ideal for our large family. Over the summer, while my mom was still very coherent, she signed a transfer on death of her house, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, to me for myself, my boyfriend, and our children to move into. She did the transfer so I would not have to buy the house, as we would not be able to afford a loan for her house. And her house only had less than a year left until it was completely paid off, so we would be able to afford her payments that way. All of my other siblings own their own homes and have plenty of room in their homes for their individual families. I did not ask my other siblings if they were okay with this, but I didn't see it as their decision or whether they had a say, considering it's our mom's house and she had final say anyway. Like I said, all of my siblings own their own homes anyway. Once my mom passed away, she had some medical bills that needed taking care of, so it seemed as though we would only need to sell the house to take care of them. After looking into it more, my boyfriend said he would buy the house at just enough to cover the medical bills rather than what it's worth, considering we cannot afford what it's worth, plus my mom had planned on us just moving in and not doing any sort of loan anyway. She had a cash inheritance which she left my older sister, Melanie, 43 female, to split equally among all of my siblings. Since my mom had passed, we have asked Melanie how much is left in the inheritance, as it would be split 7 ways, and she would always kinda dodge the question. She'd say she hasn't counted it yet or she's unsure. My mom also had some coins that were worth some money. She had 4 coins worth about $3,200 and a 5th coin worth about $1,200. I only found out about these coins from my other sister Rochelle, 35 female, because she told me that Melanie thought about giving the coin worth $3,200 to herself, Rochelle, my brother Nick, 37 male, and myself. The coin worth less to another handpicked sibling. And then just never telling the last 2 siblings about the coins at all, and that really upset me. I understand the coins gain value over time and that's why they didn't want to pawn them for cash to split equally, but that is really unfair. And considering there are 107 coins, I believe the most fair situation would be to pawn them for cash so everyone could be involved. I suggested that, and then they never heard anything else about the coins after that. And then one day last week when I had Rochelle and my niece over for dinner, she dropped a gold coin out of her purse and quickly put it back. I never said anything, but I couldn't believe that they decided to kick me out of that inheritance because I stuck up for the 3 siblings that were gonna be slighted. Well, flash to a couple days ago, my boyfriend got approved for the loan. I told Melanie about this to keep her in the loop, and her response shocked me. She told me she didn't feel comfortable selling the house to my boyfriend. I did not understand, because selling the house to my boyfriend was just a way for us to keep the house so that my mom's medical bills would get paid. And my mom's wishes were for my family to move into the house. After I got off the phone with Melanie, I called Rochelle to see how she felt, but she couldn't talk right away. Once I was able to talk to Rochelle, it was very clear that Melanie had gotten to her first and manipulated the situation. So I texted the group chat with my siblings. Essentially, they all want to sell the house at full value to a stranger so they can receive an inheritance of cash from the house selling. Melanie had very obviously made them believe that my mom only transferred the house into my name so I could take care of selling it and splitting the money with all of my siblings. That was not the truth, and I tried telling them that our mom did not do that, but Melanie had manipulated the situation. For context though, Melanie is the oldest, and all of our siblings can be pretty easily manipulated in a situation when it comes to Melanie. It sounds terrible, but it's true. I can see right through it and try to say my side, but they are all on Melanie's side. They all want cash from the house, but I want to live in it like my mom had intended. Like I said, my mom transferred the house into my name. So I'm going through with selling the house to my boyfriend to pay my mom's medical bills, and so us and our 4 children can live there. My siblings feel like I've scammed them out of an inheritance, but I feel like I found a way to get the medical bills paid so that my family can live there, which is what my mom intended when she was here. So, am I the a-hole for doing this? And yeah guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think OP was the a-hole here, or did she do the right thing? A user in the comments said, "Everyone sucks here. Your siblings are being sneaky about the cash and coins, but you are also wrong for making unilateral decisions about a major asset. Melanie's manipulating everyone, you are arranging an unfair discounted sale, and nobody is actually trying to find a solution that respects both your mom's wishes and everyone's right to a fair inheritance. You all need to grow up and handle this better." Comment number 3, not the a-hole. Your mom deliberately transferred the house to you while fully coherent because she wanted you and your kids to have a stable home. Your siblings all have houses already, plus they are being shady about the cash inheritance and coins, trying to hide things from each other. Your solution pays off mom's medical bills and follows her wishes. They are just being greedy. Update to the story. So first I want to say I'm so appreciative of all the comments that are seemingly truly looking out for my best interest. My older sister Melanie had made me believe that the debt needed to be paid from the house and not the cash as state. She'd never disclosed to us that there was enough to pay off my mom's medical bills. I contacted an estate attorney and ended up speaking with the attorney who was directly handling my mom's medical debt. He told me that there was no need to sell the house right now, that my family could move into it with no worry of paying the medical debt until the future if I ever decided to sell it. So that's what we're gonna do now. If we ever decide to sell it, which I don't see right now why we would, as finding a 5-bedroom house is really hard to come by, we will split the sale of the house after her medical debt are paid, and of course subtract any money we put into it going forward from their portion. I do agree that keeping the deed of the house in my name is the wise decision, so that I will always have that security with my children if something were to ever happen between myself and my partner. I really appreciate all of the comments making that aware to me, and all of the comments wanting to make sure I seek out a lawyer. As far as the coins go, I didn't mention them because I was upset I wasn't getting a portion. I understand getting the house is a big deal. I mentioned what was happening with the coins to give an example as to why I don't feel like I can trust Melanie, and why I feel like she's not being honest about the money and the estate, which by the way she wasn't. There's more money than just the coins that she's not being honest about. The deceptiveness is what hurts me. I feel like I'm very open and honest with my family and would never try to deceive them. I would rather have all conversations, especially with my family, hold integrity. Once I had felt settled and secure with talking to the lawyer, I texted my siblings' group chat to let them know what was going on, that the house will stay in my name. Melanie has been manipulating the situation, and once she thought I was selling it to my boyfriend, I knew she would tell all my other siblings that the problem is not that I was keeping the house, but that it would no longer be in my name. I can tell she is very angry that she can no longer spin this story for her narrative. But this is what my mom had intended in the first place, for myself and my children to have somewhere to live, and she always knew my boyfriend was in our package deal. Melanie still seems mad, but I don't see the problem anymore. The next one is titled, My Mother is a Karen. So I got the pleasure of having a Karen as a mother. I'm older now and I'm no longer in contact with her. This happened when I was a teenager, about 15 years old in 2005. We went for a lunch at a cafe we went to all the time. We ordered our drinks and food and went outside to wait. At this cafe there were two outside areas, a smoking area and a non-smoking area. Karen decided to sit in the smoking area. She is very against smoking and I warned her that this was the smoking area, but she was having none of it. A few minutes later, a small group came into the area and obviously began smoking. Of course, my mom had a problem with that. Karen, talking so loudly so the group would hear her, "Oh my gosh! What's with the smoking? This is a family establishment. I cannot believe these people." Me, let's go to the non-smoking area then. Karen, no, I'm not moving. I was here first. They should move. The group either did not hear her or were ignoring her because they gave no reaction. Karen directed at the group, excuse me, would you mind not puffing your smoke directly at me? This is very disrespectful. She was acting like they were facing her and purposely blowing smoke in her face. They were not though. Group member, ma'am, this is the smoking area. We are allowed to smoke here. Karen, no you're not. I'll have you thrown out of here for disrespecting me. She got up and went inside. I apologized to the group while she was gone. A few minutes later she came back with the manager in tow. Karen, these inconsiderate people have been blowing smoke in my face and swearing at me. I want them removed right now. Manager, ma'am, this is the smoking area. They are allowed to smoke here. As for the offensive language, me, I cut in. They were not swearing or doing anything wrong. Mom, just stop it. Manager, if that's the case, ma'am, I can seat you somewhere else if you want. No, we are not moving. Make them move instead. I had enough of this, so I went inside to get away from this. My mom did this all the time and I was sick of it. My mom then stormed inside a few minutes later and said, OP, we are leaving. This is disgusting customer service and we are never coming back. These threats were very common from my mom and she never stuck to the threat at the misfortune of the staff at these places. We lived in a small town with two cafes and the other one being way too expensive for my choosing beggar mom to ever go to. I'm no longer in contact with my mom. She now lives in another country and does not know my address. I'm just grateful that I no longer have to put up with her entitlement. And the next one is titled Karen Attacks and Fails. Meet the cast. Me, 25 female, tiny Vietnamese girl living in the US since 9 years old with an usually shy yet cheerful personality who loves to read and is crazy for chocolate. My brother, 20 male, short, chubby Vietnamese guy with some mental issues but extremely intelligent and truly the sweetest boy ever. He loves dinosaurs and idolizes my boyfriend. Let's call him B. My boyfriend is 29 male, tall and muscular, long-haired and a beardy Brazilian guy. Despite his permanent look, he is extremely kind. He is intelligent, an engineer and lovely and loves my family as his own. Keep this last bit in mind, it's important. Let's call him BF. Karen is a massive lump of lard and entitlement, and if you ever saw an obese Karen, you saw this one. Weird clothes, ugly bag, that haircut, huge sunglasses and a voice which makes your ears bleed. Karen Spawn, probably about 8 years old and male, an overweight brat. Entitled as his mother. Not gonna say much more, don't wanna trash talk a kid. So this story takes place during 2018's December, a week before Christmas. My boyfriend and I were visiting my parents for the holidays and we wanted to go shopping for gifts in a shopping mall nearby. We decided to take my brother as well since he was bored at home and I wanted to spend some more time with him. At the shopping mall I decided to put my grand plan in motion. My boyfriend always surprises me on Christmas, but it would be my turn that year. I usually never ask him for anything, but this time I made the cutest face and voice I could. Me, baby, can you get me a chocolate milkshake, please? I will wait in this bookstore here with B. Boyfriend, okay. Be right back. He kissed my head. Yeah, my head. It's faster because he's much taller than me. I picked this bookstore for 3 reasons. His gift would be a book, as he loves reading just as much as I do. It was far away from McDonald's where he would get my milkshake, and more importantly, they had books with dinosaur models. So anyway, my boyfriend noticed it and it became the perfect alibi since my brother was around. Now is when things started to go wrong. I took my brother to the place where they kept the dinosaur books way in the back and told him to pick a book and wait there. He picked even before I could stop talking. I left him there because the library was big and I just had a few minutes to buy my boyfriend's gift and hide it in my bag before he could see it. I was maybe 10 minutes into my frenzied search for a book when I heard some loud voices from where I left my brother. There I saw that monstrous Karen yelling and trying to wrestle the book my brother picked from him, while her spawn cheered from the sides and a couple of workers, 2 teenage girls, stood there stunned, not knowing what to do. I rushed there and yelled, "Me, what are you doing?" Karen, "This freak doesn't want to give my baby the book, so I'm taking it." Karen spawn, "Mommy, get me the T-Rex." I grabbed her fat arm, which was easily 5 times thicker than mine, and tried to pull her off him. Me, "Leave him alone, he picked it up first." Karen, "Stop lying and don't touch me," pushed me. "Now you stupid son of a witch. Give me this book now." She shoved me and I landed on my butt some 4 feet away from her, just stunned. That is when she started to slap my brother really hard. We could hear the smacks. On her 4th slap though, my boyfriend came out of nowhere, tore that mastodon from my brother while pushing her and putting himself between my brother and her, who also fell on her butt. Now, I would like to say he's usually very calm, very quiet, a guy of very few words, and I only saw him angry once, but even then, he never raised his voice. This time was different though. His face was pure murderous anger, and he literally roared at the woman, "Boyfriend, don't you dare hurting my brother." I was shocked to see him like that, but Karen went from red to white and her kid went on mute. Another employee came dragging a security officer. Karen screamed that she was assaulted, and my boyfriend, again calm as if nothing happened but angry as hell, explained his side of the story. I explained what happened, the teenager employees did the same, cameras were checked and the bruises on my poor brother were looked at. The police was called and everything got reviewed. It turns out this Karen already had her problems with the law, and the only reason why we did not press charges is because we just wanted to finish shopping. She got arrested anyway, so why bother? In the end, my boyfriend had to go buy another milkshake for me since he dropped it when he rushed to aid my brother, and I used the time to buy his book and my brother's with a huge discount. Later, when we were calmer, I started to analyze the whole situation and what he did. He looked scary, but the way he did that was so cool and hot. He called my brother his brother and protected him so ferociously, it was like watching a lion protecting his band. My parents were so grateful they almost cried. If they liked him before, now they loved him to the point of calling him son, and my brother started to get along with him even better than before. You guys should see them playing Street Fighter together, it's so wholesome and funny. And me, well, let me say one thing, that night I didn't let him sleep at all and my hips were sore the next morning, more than a fall could explain. By the way, we are getting married as soon as this whole pandemic thing is over, and yeah, he got surprised with the book. Mission accomplished. Before we end the video, I will read one last petty revenge story that you don't want to miss. It is titled, "Hit My Car and Leave? Bet." This story involves my mom, 64 female, who is severely disabled, and a rando couple who hold a flagrant disregard for other people's property. So my mom, let's call her Sarah, was in the parking lot sitting in her car, preparing to get out and go inside the restaurant she was at. If it matters, she parked in the handicapped parking. Enter the disrespectful couple. They park next to my mom, they are to the left of my mom's car, and their door opens wide, hitting my mom's car. Hard. Sarah rolls down her window and says, "Hey, in opening your door you hit my car pretty hard just now. Did you not realize that, or?" And the couple looks, shrugs and nonchalantly responds, "Oh, sorry about that," and continues on inside, not offering anything more or any sort of information to fix the damage done. My grandpa's favorite phrase was always, "I don't get mad, I get even." Well, keep that in mind. So Sarah, aka my mom, watches them go into the restaurant, get seated, and go on about their night like nothing happens. She waits until they are out of sight and she opens her door hard, hitting the side of their car, and again and again and again. Then she decides she is not so hungry after all and drives off. Moral of the story, just because someone is disabled, it doesn't mean they are incapable of revenge when necessary. And yeah guys, thank you for watching, I will see you again tomorrow.